Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Matt, aka This Dad's Platinum Journey, and on this episode of the Platinum Trophy Chronicles, we are going to be diving into a wonderful indie title named Stray, and I am joined by my best friend. He is the one, the only. It is PT Games. How you doing, Pete?
Hello, how are we doing? Are we all right?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. It is a bright, sunny Thursday morning. Sun shining. I'm in a good mood. I'm ready to talk about this game. Yeah.
Always good.
Yes, Pete and I, we're going to be diving into some Stray in just a moment. But first of all, of course, we're going to be catching up with anything new. If you're interested in knowing a little bit more about us, obviously check out previous podcasts. We'd have dived into a little bit of an introduction there to get to know us a little bit better. We're then going to dive into the game itself. We've got development, we've got a review, we're going to talk about the trophy list and our personal journeys going through that, and our recommendations when we get to the end there. So.
Really good.
So Pete, dude, what are you gaming? What's new?
Well, I'm still keeping a little bit of a lid on it. I mean, I'm not like my profile's not hidden. You could go and see what I'm playing if you wanted to, but it's for videos, so I'm not just gonna, I'll tell you afterwards.
You don't hide it then if you're doing something private, like do you?
Well. I'm not.
I did. I had to when I was doing Crisis Core. Like I had to.
Did you?
Yeah, I was really scared.
Well, it's a bit different when you're dealing with embargoes and stuff, though, isn't it? Like,
it is. Yeah. Embargoes. I'm like, I have to like keep it like under the wraps.
But I did play and got my second VR platinum over the weekend.
Nice.
Which was immensely fun.
What did you do?
I did the Dark Pictures like on rails shooter horror thing that they did.
Funnily enough, I feel like I saw you playing that. I was online and I was sort of I saw the list. Actually, to be fair, I think I was actually on Discord, because on Discord it shows you what you're playing on PlayStation.
Yeah, it pops up under your name, doesn't it?
Yeah. I would have been just on Discord, and it would just sort of it pops up with like who's playing what on there. It's like, it's really surreal. It's just like what
it took me so long to work out how to do that.
It's all linked, isn't it?
I think so.
we do our work meetings like on Discord, and I'm always really scared. Like if I've got something going on the PlayStation, my boss is just like, "Why are you playing
just
the game?"
Pop up playing Ratchet and Clank. Oh gosh. But yeah, that was it. That was the time. There's a video in the works for that one.
Nice.
In a minute. So far, it's probably the longest I've spent on a single video in a long time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I spent the whole of Monday and Tuesday editing, and I'm probably about halfway through.
Okay. Because it's just...
We'll see.
It's been a while since we've talked to each other like this.
Yes, it is.
It's been about 3 months for anybody kind of put, like, everybody wondering where the next Platinum Trophy Chronicles is. I know, Zach, you're probably watching, but it's been a little while. Spoilers, I'll pull the curtain back, because we actually filmed this last week. But I forgot to record it, so it never happened. Like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, like, what doesn't make a sound?
The worst part is neither of us realised until we'd finished the podcast.
Well, you're not going to realise because it doesn't happen on your screen. It happens on mine.
That is true.
It's on my screen
I was trying to share some of the blame here.
No, it's all me. I'm the host. I'm the one meant to be recording this. But no, anything else you've been gaming the last like 3 months or two? Anything exciting?
God, 3 months. I don't remember what was last week.
You did Jedi Survivor, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Jedi
That was
Survivor.
one of the big games I know that you played.
That was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. If you enjoyed the first one, I think you'll really enjoy this one.
Yeah, because they've all the questions I'm asking I already know the answer to, so I'm just kind of like, hey,
he's trying to prompt my memories.
Yeah. Because they fixed the fast traveling from the previous game, which was the biggest gripe that I had with the first one, was the fact that you couldn't just... The cleanup was just so much of a busy work to do.
Yeah, because you had to make your way through the entire level every single time, and it was just a bit annoying.
And the maps were really difficult to kind of you're like thinking, okay, that takes me over to there, and then I can get down that bit, and it's just like you're trying to look at a map like a hologram and trying to figure out a way to get. Oh, it was just a pain.
I won't front. The map still did my head in. It's the same sort of map with the holographic like layered things.
I don't mind it, but just give me a fast travel so I can get to where I need to go quickly.
Well, that's the thing is you can fast travel between like your meditation spots now, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But
that's cool.
Good game. I don't know how it runs because it's been like a few weeks now since I played it. It's probably been patched a few times, but
I think it has been.
Yeah,
sorted
it
out a
didn't
little
run
bit.
great when I played it. I locked it to 30 because I just gave up with the
Okay.
frame rate. But
Would you do infidelity? Is that what you did?
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, the thing
What
with
about
these
you?
games.
What have you been
Yeah.
up to?
I had a bit of time off after our last podcast, actually, so I wasn't really doing that much gaming.
Traumatised.
But very recently, last sort of few weeks or so, I did achieve my 50th Platinum Trophy. So yay, that was the goal. I set that target to hopefully end at the end of the year, but the Final Fantasy VII Remake streams were kind of like running over. So I wasn't going to rush to get the Platinum just to kind of get streams in for the sake of it. I kept it to the schedule. But yeah, last couple of weeks ago on the channel, so if you do want to go and check it out, you can go and sort of see the end of that rush of I needed to finish the stream, but there's so many cutscenes to get through. Platinum Trophy.
Oh, God, yeah, there is, isn't there? There's so many cutscenes.
So many cutscenes. It just goes on and on and on and on. And then yeah, I ended up obviously like just like okay, 50, go bye, go bye, and then just had to like leave.
See you in a bit.
I had to sort of
It's like 2 in the morning.
celebrate later. I had to do that, but that was really cool because that was just such a really good moment for myself. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think back to like 3 years ago where I first got the PS4 version of that game, and then that sparked an enthusiasm for trophy hunting for me. And if you want a little bit more on that, there's a video on my channel about it. But like to go back to the PlayStation 5 version, earn my 50th was just a nice roundabout way of kind of closing that sort of section of my life off. So the other games I've got Platinums for, because I had like a week to do a couple, was Kano Bridge of Spirits and What Remains of Edith Finch.
Both fantastic games.
We can dive into Kena in another podcast because I feel like that's worthy talking into.
Yes.
But What Remains of Edith Finch is a fantastic little title. If you've not played it, I highly recommend it.
Go play it now.
If you're a parent, I would strongly advise that you, I would give you a fair warning of that one because, you know, as a parent, some of the scenes are a little bit hard to watch. So
I'd say a lot hard to watch.
Yeah, like a lot hard to watch. So just bear that in mind because it's such a wonderful story. But I'm not going to spoil anything or anything like that. But it's a really, really great experience. So go out and play it. It's on PlayStation Plus, and don't forget the PlayStation 5 version is the only one with the Platinum. You can't get it on the PS4 version. It's just trophies, which is fine. But like,
which I did a video about, which was hilarious because it then got a platinum trophy.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were like amazing games that don't have platinums, and then like a few weeks later, a few weeks later, PS5 versions on. It's got a platinum.
I've just got a Manifest Little Nightmares getting one now, and they'll be sorted.
But that's basically it. I've been obviously working with FF Union. We've got a few videos like loaded up in the bank. We've got Final Fantasy 16 kind of coming out pretty soon. It's like under a month away. So I'm pretty excited by that.
I think it is like a month today. It's like 4 weeks today or something.
Yes, the 22nd of June it comes out. So yeah, about just under a month.
10 days off of work to play that.
Have you booked time off for this one?
Yes.
Oh,
I have.
I'm planning on having time off, but I need to know what's happening with FF Union. Whether I'm helping to cover it, may or may not be. So we'll see what's happening there. If I've got to make a load of videos for it, I'll probably take some time off. But I will take some time off around the launch time as well, just to kind of take some game time in. But it depends on, I'm sort of judging when I have to sort of take that time off. If I'm making videos for them, then I need to have some time off to kind of like actually get stuff sorted out for it. So
I'd imagine it'd be like an all hands on deck kind of situation, like launch of the next numbered entry. Like.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for the franchise and stuff. So, but we also had we'll do a live discussion here because again, I know we recorded this last week, Pete, but we didn't have a PlayStation showcase to talk about. So
no, we didn't.
I don't want to dive into this too long because I'm sure we're all eager to get into the podcast itself. But what was your kind of like big takeaway from the showcase?
Obviously Spider-Man. Like, it had to be Spider-Man.
The main event.
We needed to see Spider-Man.
Yeah. We needed to see something for it, like...
Yeah.
I was quite surprised there was no Wolverine, though, at some point. Like,
Yeah, I think this was one of my main things from it. Is the felt like there was a lot missing
Yeah.
that we probably should have been seeing, like the Last of Us multiplayer. I'm shocked that wasn't there.
I'm wondering if that is going to be a Jeff Keighley thing, because it was technically revealed on a Jeff Keighley show.
True.
So I'm wondering if PlayStation and Jeff have some sort of agreement where, like, he's getting the exclusives on that. So I wonder if Naughty Dog are going to be at Summer Games Fest.
It will be.
Yeah. But for me, was just Metal Gear Solid 3, man. Was just...
I knew it. The second I saw it, I was like, everyone in that Discord's going to lose their mind.
Oh, technically, it's Metal Gear Solid Delta, I think it's called.
Right.
I saw there's the Konami put a post out, a link to a website, and it was like Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So they kind of lost the numbered title. So I'm wondering if they're kind of just doing a chronological remake series. They're kind of taking...
Because isn't 3's the first in the timeline, isn't it?
In the timeline, yes.
Yeah.
Which would then dictate that they're going to do 5, which is a bit weird if they're going to do it in timeline order, which is a bit strange. So I don't know what they're going to do. But more excitingly than that as well is they are bringing the Master Collection, which is Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, over to PS5. I had to double check, like, not PS4, PS5.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, it's a bit strange that it's not backwards compatible, but okay, sure. I'm wondering why. I'm wondering if they are just going to be like the HD remakes kind of ported over, if it's a brand new remaster that they're doing. I don't know.
I think I'd be surprised if they were doing a brand new remaster for all 3 in one go when they're doing a remake.
Because they've taken them all off for sale for copyright reasons because of the
it's all the cutscenes and stuff, isn't it?
It's all the cutscene footage and that of like the war footage that they've used, because like 20 plus years or whatever it is like expired.
Yeah.
So I kind of wondering if it's going to be some sort of like remaster, because if they can't get that footage anymore, they kind of have to put something else there, right?
True.
So I'm kind of like thinking, okay, are they just going to redo some of the game like on there? They're going to do a brand new, because it would probably be easier for them to port the PS2 version over to the PS5 than to do the PS3 version over to PS5, because PS3 game depends on the developer. They've been able to kind of like do them, like say Last of Us Remastered and, you know, Nathan Drake, all that sort of stuff, right? So they've been able to do a lot of it, but it depends, I suppose, on the game engine, how it was produced on for the PS3. Maybe, I don't know if they are able to do it, because I believe they never did Metal Gear Solid 1. That was always just a standalone kind of like port type thing that was playable, but it was still the PS1 classic sort of thing, right?
Yeah,
I feel like it was a PS1 classic that you could play on a PS3 or something along those lines, whatever it was. But yeah, very excited by that. But one that took me by surprise was it Phantom Blade?
Yes, that looks so good.
That just looks insane. Looks so
I was
cool.
watching it and I was like,
what is this?
It just looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then you saw the like actual, I assume actual gameplay.
I would say so.
It just looked amazing.
I was like, they're showing so much of this.
Yeah.
I
cannot wait for that. The only thing that slightly worried me is I don't think we got a date or even a year.
No, it was just, here's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Just get excited. But they've got gameplay, so there must be.
That's what I mean. It feels like it can't be. Yeah,
they've got dialogue in cuts, like in relative cutscenes. So I would assume that they've done voice acting, which is generally one of the last things that they do in a game. Is they kind of animate in the cutscene, like the voice acting. So they seemingly they could be quite far along. It might not be a huge game because it's quite an indie title, so it might be something relatively small scale, but it just looks so good.
Yeah.
Like, they're getting some serious frame rates out of that. Like,
oh, yeah.
Looks
it does.
so good.
It looks so good.
But shall we dive into Stray?
Can I just shout out one more thing?
Do one more.
Beat Saber came out at the showcase. It was available at the showcase. You
Was
could
it?
download it. Yeah.
For PSVR 2?
It came up available on PSVR 2 now.
Now. Wow.
I was like, and I've still not been on and seen how much it is, so I need to do that afterwards.
Is it not like a free upgrade or something like that?
I don't think so.
No? You have to buy it again.
I'll have to check. I meant to do it last night and forgot.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Stray.
Stray. So, yeah, we're diving into the podcast today. We are, of course, talking about this fantastic title. We're going to go back and look at its development here. I've just got some notes. We'll go through some bits and pieces here. I know we've already talked about this, Pete. It's going to come up quite a lot. But we have to pretend like I've already telling you this for the first time. We've not had
this conversation.
I know. So this game was actually developed by a developer called Blue 12 Studios and published by Annapurna. Now, we would know Annapurna games. I'm sure, Pete, you've probably played. We spoke about What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah.
But you're looking at, Gone Home, Artful Escape, things like that we're quite familiar with in terms of their product, and we kind of know what they're about when it came to Stray. But Blue 12 was a pretty unknown entity. And
yeah, I don't think they've done anything.
If you look them up, they have done nothing else but Stray, right? They literally did the Stray, and then they did obviously the PC port. That was at launch. It was available there, but there is obviously rumours and talks that it may be coming to Xbox, so we don't know if that's going to be coming up. So they possibly have been developing the Xbox port. There's just a little bit of flutter on the old rumour mill about that one, so it may possibly be coming out for there. But Blue 12, it actually kind of came from Ubisoft. And they were people that sort of left the company and decided to start up their own studio. They were obsessed with sort of cat mechanics and things like that. And then Annapurna were just kind of hey, want to make a game about a cat? Because obviously you seem to be very, very into that. So that's kind of how that sort of partnership sort of came about. And that was sort of around 2015, 2016, which is sort of when they were sort of starting to kind of get the idea of this kind of coming together. We didn't really see sort of too much of it until we got to the Future Games event, which we spoke about in the last podcast with Horizon, because it was shown at the same one, with the June 11, 2020 Future Showcase. So do you remember kind of seeing this when this was first announced, and what were your first impressions of it?
My first impressions were, I get to play as a cat, bugger it, I'm all in, take my money, thanks. I'll have it.
It's here you go. Yeah.
Here you go. Here's a check. Write some amounts on there, and I'll play.
Yeah, I remember the mystery around it as well. There was not really anything to kind of tie you to it, apart from the fact that you played for as a cat. It was very
literally
mysterious. There was nothing really to kind of tell you what this game was actually about. That was sort of the selling point, and I think it worked.
I mean, it definitely worked. It was one of those things where it just sort of cropped up in the middle of the showcase.
Yeah.
And you had no idea what was going on. And then all of a sudden, this cat just walked out onto the beam.
Yeah.
And it was just I'm in. Yeah.
It was sort of loaded up with the rest of the sort of indie titles. So it was in there with Bug Snacks and what was the other one that was shown off on that showcase? I'm trying to remember what the other one was. Kena. That was it. Yeah, we spoke about that earlier as well. That's right. So it was sort of plastered into all there. So it really stood out because obviously the other ones are very cartoony, very kind of outlandish in that retrospect. But this was a lot sort of darker, moodier. It had an atmospheric kind of feel to it. So it was very intriguing as to what that actually was. And I felt that was one of the big takeaways from some of the showcase was what is this? And I'm interested.
What is going on?
Well, that's it, and that was really good to sort of see as well. So, as obviously development go on, we did sort of trickle in more and more information. I won't go into every trailer that we got because we did get to see a fair bit of this. We did it did experience a couple of delays. So one of the problems, obviously, with that time period, we all know what was going on in 2020, 2021. It was a hard time for a lot of people. And obviously, being such a small team, who knows what they were kind of going through trying to get this game together. But this game actually was released on the 19th of July, 2022. So what were your thoughts kind of building up to the launch of this? Like, did you sort of, as I say, would you get like massive like hype and excitement? Were you kind of okay going into this?
I think I definitely had the hype.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was a consistent hype.
No.
Because it sort of just kept slipping out of my mind every now and again, especially with like the delays and stuff like you were saying. But the second like we got the solid date and obviously it was coming up and the hype did start to build back up again because I just couldn't wait to see what the hell was going on.
I know. The intrigue was
so,
there.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was so mysterious. It was so sort of ambiguous. Like there wasn't really any defining details that, as far as I remember, we'd seen in trailers and stuff. Other than here's a cat, here's like this cyberpunky world filled with robots. Sure. So,
yeah, I think they did a good job of like how the marketing kind of like took around it. Obviously, the whole thing with the cat took off. It became a bit of a meme a little bit. Yeah. Just like it's just the cat game, right? Like how good can it be? But I think there was generally like we're obviously a member of the Platpad Discord, and there was a lot of excitement around the launch of this. I think particularly because it was announced that it was coming to PlayStation Plus extra tier, like day one. I think that did a really good job of getting that player base sort of up. Obviously, people were able to play it day one, no issues. But I think from a feel of like the general Discord around it people are pretty excited for this one. So it was nice to see that an indie title that was kind of getting that kind of almost mainstream pop a little bit. Yeah. It was nice to see because you get it with your God of Wars, your Horizons, you get these sort of big launch moments. But this kind of felt big time for a small game, somewhat.
It definitely did.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think it was massively helped by the fact that it went straight onto PlayStation Plus.
I think so.
Because obviously you've immediately got a player base then of people that own the game and can just try it.
And just get in there and play.
With what my Game Pass is so popular, obviously, it is just things are just right there for you.
Yeah.
And I don't think had we had something like this before? Was it like Destruction All Stars and
I think
yeah,
PlayStation have had day one stuff. They had Destruction All Stars. They did like Oddworld Abe's like the remake one.
Oh yeah.
That came to what was then just normal PlayStation Plus, like the essential tier. Yeah. There was another one which was like it was a wartime one. I'm trying to think what it was called. I'm trying to think what it was now, but there was a wartime first-person shooter style that sort of came out. So they have done these day one sort of more indie, like sort of like games and stuff like that, and we're getting it with what's the one that's coming to Game Pass, PlayStation Plus? What's the one going to PlayStation Plus? It's coming quite soon as well. It's one of those moments where like I have something I think I'm into my head and I feel like something's happening and I can't actually remember for the life of me what it actually is.
I can't think of anything. The only one that I can think of off the top of my head is Chia, because that came out, was it last month?
I think so, yeah.
I think of anything else coming up.
Somebody in the comments might be able to enlighten us anyway.
Yeah, someone will tell us that we're idiots and they'll point it out.
But anyway, when it came to the actual launch itself, we got 83% on Metacritic. Now, do you find that score was a really nice sort of representation of the game?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say my main worry with it, after playing it at least, was that it was going to get artificially inflated for being the cat game.
Yeah.
But I think 83 is probably a good way to go, and obviously we'll get into that very soon anyway.
We'll get into the review of it ourselves, but I think overall, I think this game is deserving of that. It also won the best indie game at the Game Awards as well, which I know that you have a couple of thoughts on, but
yeah. To be brief, I think in any other year it could have run away with it for me, and it was the only one of the nominees I actually played. But when you look at what it was up against, I think arguments could easily be made for all of the games that were there.
Tightly contested category, and I feel like the more the years go on, the more tightly contested the indie title is. Because sometimes with the main game of the year, there's like one or two standouts that are like, okay, it's between this and this, right?
Yeah.
It's between Horizon and Breath of the Wild. It's
between God of War and Elden Ring.
Is it God of War or Elden Ring, right?
Yeah.
Or Horizon, somewhere underneath there. But with the indies, there's such an argument to be made for, like, it's the creativity, the differentiation between them. I think the masterful, there's such talented indie developers out there now that are making such amazing games. They're so good. Yeah. I think that was the year. It was it like Sifu?
Sifu. I've got the list up. It was Sifu, Cult of the Lamb,
yes,
Tunic, and Neon White.
It's just
all of which I feel like just took off when they came out.
Yeah, it was just such a great year. But like I say, it's such a hotly contested category most of the time.
Yeah, and like you said, arguments could be made for literally any of them. So
wonderful, right? Well, that is pretty much going up into the launch itself. So why don't we talk about the little bit of a review now once we actually got our hands on it, because I know we both played this day one. In fact, I'm sure a lot of people were able to kind of get on it like we spoke about earlier. But let's talk a little bit about its story here. Now, it's not a year old yet, so we won't be delving into any kind of story spoilers, or at least I won't try and spoil anything too much like the last time when I gave away the fact that you get to fly as Aloy, but...
I mean, we can forgive you for that.
You've seen it. You've seen it now, right? So yeah, we won't be diving into any kind of like late game stuff or trying to delve into any of the bits and pieces. But yeah, I'll start with you, P. Like, what did you think of the game's story?
I think one thing that stood out to me, or rather didn't, is that it didn't feel very apparent or very front and center. It was sort of, I know this is a really weird comparison to make. It reminded me of a Souls game. Because the story is there if you want to go and investigate it, and it's more about the world and existing in the world rather than an upfront, here is what is going on from this point to this point to this point. And obviously it had those moments, and a lot of it was sort of exposition given to you by B12, the little robot dude, which is adorable. But I think for the most part, for me, it just felt like the game just wanted you to just be in the world and left you to it after that. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought there was definitely some like question raising themes in there for sure. But definitely. What about you? What did you think?
It was, I think you've hit the nail on the head, because I loved your analogy of the fact that it's like a Souls game. Now I'm talking like I've played a Souls game. I can't play Souls games. They're too hard. I've tried Bloodborne. I can't do it.
This video gets 100 likes, Matt will play a Souls game.
Yeah. I will platinum Bloodborne if this gets 100 likes.
There you go. You've heard it here now. It's on the internet.
It's on the internet now, so everyone be campaigning. I think that's a really good way of doing it, because from what I understand, it's about in the world building that you have around you. The character itself is kind of a lot, not like a lifeless puppet, but they're kind of just a protagonist, right? There's no real lore or backstory behind them. They're just in the world, and everything going around you is kind of what is the story. There's no journey for the hero here. It's just they're a kind of a catalyst for things happening around them. So from what I understand in terms of like for Stray, going through, it's very much what's happening. You are changing the world around you, and you are manipulating that by your interactions and the way the story progresses. But there's no real story for the cat. It's a cat. There's great interactions, like you say, with the androids, with the one on your back. Is it B12, isn't it?
Yeah.
I keep want to say BD1, but that's Star Wars.
It's all right. I've got it blurred out, but he wouldn't be helping you. Where is he? There he is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see him in the back there. But yeah, like B12, like the interactions that he has with the androids, because he's the one that can communicate. He's the translator. So he's kind of understanding what's happening around and then kind of translating it to you. And I feel like it's one of those games where, like, you are the cat, because they're explaining not just to the cat, explaining it to you. So it's the way the storytelling works, the way that I can kind of like say it is kind of like Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X is you're tedious, you have your own backstory, but the way the story's told is you're told like you know nothing, and Tidus doesn't know anything. He's like, what's this? What's that? Can you explain this to me? Because like as the gamer, you don't know. So it's not just being explained to him, it's being explained to you through him, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Sort of, right? So I kind of like that storytelling, because you as the gamer don't know what's happening in this world. You need it explaining to you. So that way of kind of manipulating that gameplay kind of works, because that's the story, what's happening. So I kind of liked that they did that. And the fact that it's a cat, we'll get onto gameplay as well, but I feel like that's where the cat kind of comes into it. Is like, that's the gameplay part, is the cat, whereas the story is everything else around the cat, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like you said, I
feel like I'm going round in circles. Like,
yeah. It's just basically like you said, a catalyst for you.
Yeah.
To know what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. I enjoy that. I enjoy that.
We have no idea.
There is a term for that kind of storytelling, but I cannot tell you what it is.
I have no idea.
No. I've had it.
I'll take your word for it.
I've had it explained to me before when it comes to like storytelling. If you ever watch or listen to the State of the Art podcast, it's really good.
Okay.
They did one on. They're doing Near Automata at the moment, because I think you like that game.
I have not played that.
Oh, have you not played it? Oh, okay.
No.
They're doing that at the moment.
I have that game.
Okay. I'd like to play it, but I haven't. But no, they do a lot of storytelling, and they kind of explain that thing to it. But
right. Okay.
I think just the world, but like you say, like the cyberpunk, the mystery of it all. I just found it really engrossing. I was really into what was happening as well. I found myself really getting lost, and again, I don't want to spoil anything for the story, but it really tugs on your heartstrings.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely
it
does.
really gets you invested. And again, it's not the cat; it's what the world's happening around you is what's making your heartstrings. You know,
Yeah.
somewhat the cat a little bit, but
the cat initially.
But yeah, there is a lot of emotional drive in this game as well, which will really kind of pull you in. It really does. Right, I think we are. Is that enough for the storyline? I think we're like there's not really much we can really explain about it apart from that.
It's like we were saying, because it is so sort of not backseatish, but
yeah,
because it's all to do with the world and stuff. There's not really a whole lot.
And I don't want to spoil it. It's not a very long game, and I don't really want to spoil too much in terms of a synopsis. But if you want anything basic, you're basically a cat that kind of like falls into this sort of undercity, and you end up finding an android, and you basically then have the ability to communicate with the androids, which are kind of like living down there. And so you're then kind of thrust into a catalyst to try and help these people. And, you know, that's kind of the story, is you're just trying to help these people, and you're trying to figure out what happened and what went on down there. And it kind of leads you like through to the main city, like all the way back up towards the upper top of the plate. So it kind of takes you on a journey all the way from the under to the top end. And you're just helping these people. You're helping these androids.
Well, they feel like
they feel like people. They do really feel like people, because when you're communicating with them, they feel like they've got emotions, and they have, you know, things that they kind of care about. And it's a really interesting game, and the concept is very, very good. So I definitely enjoyed the story. In terms of, like I say, there's nothing there with the protagonist, but I don't think it's not designed to be about the cat in terms of the story, if that makes sense. I don't think that is the main focus here. The story is, you need to observe, you need to be exploring, you need to be listening to what's happening, and that's the story. Shall we move on to some gameplay here, Pete?
Go on.
Shall we talk about some gameplay? Because I think we had actually a really good discussion about this, because I think when it comes to the gameplay, we sit a little bit differently. And I think overall, I think the point stands, but I feel like we both liked and then disliked different things about it.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
So let's talk first of all about traversal. just cat being a cat. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll leave this over to you, Pete. Like,
Oh, I have to come up with the spicy takes first, don't I? I mean, I don't know how much of a spicy take this is. I don't actually know.
you liked going up and around with the cat. Although
Yeah,
you don't like the jumps, do you?
No, that's the thing. I liked playing as the cat, and I liked the way the cat controls. Having a dedicated meow button is the greatest thing.
So good
on the planet. It's just brilliant. But we said this obviously the first time we tried this. The jump button isn't necessarily a jump button in the way you think it is. It is a contextual button prompt, almost like a QuickTime event.
Yeah.
In that you press the button, the thing happens. There's no fail state for it.
Yeah.
As long as you press that button, you are going to go and land where the sort of little prompt appears. And I don't know, it just sort of took something out of it for me and almost took me out of the game a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there's no sense of like, I may actually mess this up, I need to pay attention. I could just literally press X and just run around. I didn't even have to look at the screen, and I know that the cat isn't going to fall off a ledge. Like,
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it just, I'll say overall I enjoyed the actual just generic gameplay and the controls, and not generic, that's what I mean. Like the general gameplay.
The general.
Yeah.
There's not much to control.
No, there isn't.
You don't have an attack button, you have a meow button. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you are spamming that meow button.
Well, yeah, obviously. Had to get the trophy for what was it?
Yeah,
100?
exactly.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that one. Yeah, I know.
But I think the thing that we were saying about not liking the same things is I just didn't like the stealth bits.
No.
I just didn't like them. I know you did. I'll let you talk about them.
I'm fine with them because you are not a Metal Gear Solid gamer.
No.
Famously not a Metal Gear Solid gamer. So I feel like you need to kind of delve into that. I feel like you would
well, maybe with this master collection or whatever, I might get that.
I still think you'd get on with 5P because you can action 5. You can just go in there with a big ass gun and a mech and a tank and just go and go and blow stuff up.
That sounds like a me kind of thing.
If you want to, you can do that. I don't know what kind of rank you'll get, but you can do that.
The alphabet doesn't go low enough.
It's like you just I don't know. It was just bad.
Yeah, just nothing. It's just blank.
But yeah. I mean, I'll go back to your original point about the jumper because I actually agree with you. I feel like it depends on how they were really designing this game. I felt like they didn't want to overly challenge you. Possibly, like they kind of wanted to kind of keep it as simple as possible, maybe, and we'll just have you with button prompts to kind of jump around and not make it too difficult. I see your point. I think it would be nice to kind of be able to have some sort of freedom to jump around. You could almost, I think you made the point last time when we spoke about this, about how Star Wars does it, where like you jump, but you almost like magnetized to a landing platform. So you can jump around, you can mess it up, but if you jump towards a pipe or a ledge or something, it will animate and go onto the ledge or the pipe or whatever, right?
Exactly, and that sort of thing.
So there's
you could even say
some sort of freedom there, but bit of control.
You could even say have it as a bit of a slider, like almost like difficulty. Funnily enough,
I do not.
But you could have it say, I want to never fail them. I want to, have to at least have some sort of general direction on it.
Maybe they can patch
I am happy throwing this cat off a building. Like,
yeah, I mean, it like I say, I feel like you're, I suppose when it comes to customizing games, it really depends on how much they were accessible to be able to do. This is obviously a team. It's their first outing. It's the first game they've ever produced. There are going to be things that I feel like they potentially work on. This probably being one of them. They could always go back and think, okay, maybe we could add more to this and do more with something with it. So, I always give teams like this obviously a big, huge leeway, benefit of the doubt, because you know it's their first time. They have nothing. There's not even a game like this, right? You have cat games, but they are, you know, either like anthropomorphized cats that are kind of more humanized, or they are cartoony.
Yeah.
So playing as an actual cat, it's a very different experience when it comes to this sort of level of thing. Although What Remains of Edith Finch has a cat section.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a first-person cat section.
It's a first-person cat section, which is button prompts as well. It's the same mechanic.
Yeah, that is true.
It's the same mechanic.
But then I give, like you said, I just want to clarify, I'm not dunking on the studio at all.
No. I know.
I do appreciate this is the first game. They're very small.
I'm the one insinuating that you are.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're making me sound like, you know.
So
anyway,
I could definitely see your point, and I feel like it's something that they could definitely like to look at. I think I do agree with you. I do think that is sort of like a good thing to be able to do, is to have a free jumping mechanic instead of sometimes you're looking for a button prompt as well. Like the other way of it is like, for me, was like, I know I can get up there, but where's the button prompt for me to initiate that, right? Or you'll miss something, you'll be like, where have I got to go? Like, we'll talk about maybe the tree bit later, because there's obviously a section where you have to kind of climb this tree to kind of go up, and it's sort of like, where do I go? Yeah. I cannot find, and it's like this little thing on the side that you can kind of like work your way up to get to the next bit up. But yeah, it's trying to find in those button prompts is sometimes a little bit of a nuisance. Whereas if you had a free jump button, you'd probably work it out, right?
Yeah, you'd almost...
You'd have more options.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if it's a case of time on the animation. They'd already delayed this twice. They would have had to have animated the cat more to do that kind of like, there's a lot more for them to do with a free jumping mechanic than a button prompt mechanic. So it could just be a case of time needing to get finished.
Yeah,
you don't know.
I know, like you said, it's something they might look at and take further in the future. But
if they're listening to this podcast,
firstly, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit more about some of the sort of action pieces, because you know, traversal's great because obviously you can be very vertical, up and down. But we've got some action sequences here. Now, we'll talk about the action and the stealth sequences. So, I know you don't like the stealth sections, but how did you get on with some of the more action chase sequences?
See, I didn't mind the chase sequences. Yeah. I quite enjoyed them. Especially is it the sewers?
Oh, that one. Oh, God, yeah.
I really enjoyed that because it felt tense.
Yeah, but you can kill them as well, can't you, in that one?
Yeah. I think so.
I think that's the section where you have the thing on your back to like laser them at that point.
Yeah, it's almost like UV or something.
Yeah, it's like a disintegrator or something like that. Like it just vaporizes them.
Vaporize. But yeah, overall, I think I enjoyed them more than the stealth for sure.
Yeah,
I know you followed the opposite side.
I kind of followed the opposite because I hate being stressed out. Like, there's sections where they're chasing you and you have to kind of solve a puzzle at the same time. So there'd be like a section where I feel like you have to do like an elevator, and you have to like either press certain buttons or do something. And I'm just like, I'm panicking. I'm just running around in a circle, slowly dying. These things just jumping on the poor cat's back. I just get so stressed out. We'll talk about the chase sequence in a little bit when we talk about the trophies. But man, like I was just like, I'm not in for this. Like I'm here for a good time with a cat. Do you know what I mean? I like jumping around, knocking stuff off of shelves, just being a general nuisance, meowing, and just purring and sleeping next to some android with a banjo or whatever he is that he's playing. When they really threw me, I was like, what is this? What is going on here? I quite liked the stealth sections because, again, I'm a Metal Gear Solid gamer. I'm a patient gamer. I will sit, I will wait. It's a puzzle. It's just a puzzle. I think you made a point last time when we talked about these because the timings are off. So your traversal speed and the speed of the lights or the vision are different. So you end up having to like, I found
You
that
have to
as
keep
well.
stopping and starting. That sort of thing annoys me all.
Yeah, that sort of thing is quite annoying because the even though your timing can be perfect, you could just be too quick.
Yeah.
And it's just a little bit annoying. But that is a little bit of a pet peeve as well, that they should have like looked at the timing of that and matched the speeds up a little bit better. But like there's a few stealth sections in the game and I quite like them because again it's just a way of doing it. You know, being a Metal Gear Solid gamer, of course, you got to hide in the boxes, Pete.
Oh yeah.
You got to hide in the boxes, Pete. You know,
Oh,
you got to lure them away because in Metal Gear Solid, you do a thing where you hide against the wall and you knock on the wall and the guard's like, huh? And then they go and investigate and they do the same thing. They kind of come over and then you just kind of just go round. But instead of knocking on the wall, you just go, meow. And the thing's like, goes round and you just kind of make a beeline round the other way and just, you know, you got to lure them. You got to make them move around. You have to kind of use your tools against you. So I quite like those sections because it makes you think about what's available to you, how you can kind of get past it. Whereas I'm sure you just ran, right?
Hey, I did do the stealth sections.
You
okay,
did the trophy,
like, I actually did them
to not get caught. But
exactly. I did it. Didn't enjoy it, but I did it.
You did it.
Although I do remember you saying last time about making it like a puzzle, and I remember thinking that would make sense, and I should probably try thinking a bit like that next time.
It's what stealth games are. It's the same with Metal Gear Solid. It is essentially a puzzle game. You can see where the guards are going, what their path is like, where their vision is. You have tools available, and you have to think, okay, what can I do here? You know, so it's that sort of like mentality of like just kind of working that out a little bit inside your head. And thinking, but yeah, I tended to like those a little bit better, and I know you didn't. But one of the points I wanted to kind of like bring up, because we spoke a bit about this, and we almost had a bit of an epiphany when we kind of talked about it, because is this game doing too much gameplay?
Yes, we did say this last time.
Yeah.
It does feel that way at times.
Yeah.
It feels like they take some ideas and they run with them for about, I don't know, a section of an area, and then they never do it again.
Yeah.
It's in a game this short, it kind of is a bit more noticeable.
Yeah. There's sort of changes of pace, and there's constantly changing the pace, right? Yeah. It's like, here's the stealth section, straight into an action scene. Now we're going to do some traversal into an action scene, into this, into that, into that, into that. Nothing really gets a chance to massively breathe a lot.
Yeah.
It's always constantly changing, which, you know, I think it's okay, but it can feel a little bit jarring sometimes when you're playing it, because you never really know how to take certain sections, where we're doing. It's also a case of, do they really fully nail one of them properly? You know, like we sort of pitching out a couple of flaws here or there when it comes to some of these bits, like just the stealth section's not, the timing's not right. The action sequence are quite challenging and stressful for people like me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a case of like sometimes like the traversal, the jumps aren't always really clear, or you wish we'd have a bit more freedom with that. So I feel like there's a case to be made where sometimes the gameplay has been a bit muddled with a bit of a jumble altogether.
Yeah. So the annoying thing for me personally is, if I was going to take one of these elements out in order to flesh out the others, I'd take out the one that I actually enjoyed, which was the action sequences, because I feel like the stealth ones make more sense in the like context of the wider world.
Yeah.
And obviously you're a cat. Like cats do run away, but
sneak
they
about.
also they sneak about. And you spot a cat and it legs it. Like so I feel like if they were gonna take something out and sort of flesh out the rest of it, it would have made it sort of better.
Yeah.
Well, again, they tried things with this game, and that's all they can do.
That's a good point, because they did try a lot of stuff in this game, and you know, I feel like in general, I think the gameplay like falls pretty nice. I think it's a general spread. It's a good set of gameplay. There's no real issues with it majorly. I just feel like they don't completely nail any of them as good as they probably could have done.
Yeah.
I think they could do. If they were to do this again, I would probably agree. I think if you took out some of the action sequences, or if it was a slightly longer game, might not feel as bad. Maybe you could just put 1 or 2 action sequences just in there. But again, like you say, they never really feel like they fit within the context of the game. Most of the game generally is a lot of puzzles, a lot of stealth, a lot of traversal to try and figure things out. And you have these pockets where you're kind of running from things. It's a full chase sequence, but then you've got puzzles and chases, and it's just a little bit of a mess. So, I think we've talked a little bit on about the gameplay here, because it is a large section of this, because I think really that's kind of what, you know, a lot of it is kind of in your face with the gameplay, whereas the story is very subtle.
Yeah. And I think it's obviously it's all important, but if a game doesn't play well, then all the rest of it doesn't really matter.
And don't get us wrong, because the game plays well. I just think, like,
of course,
I just feel like we've, you know, I think we sort of like hit the nail, I think, a little bit on this one, where I think we could find a few improvements in there perhaps for next time.
Yeah.
But shall we talk a little bit about the visuals and music here? Just got to dive into that a little bit.
Yes.
I know that you liked all this sort of stuff, so I'll let you go on with this one.
This for me is like the peak part of the game. Obviously, it can't live and die on its visuals alone, which is why obviously we talked a lot about the gameplay, but it just looks so good. And the just all of the art design and the direction of everything, the neon lighting, all of the androids, everything about it just looked stunning. And I was all there for it. Like, I just want to go back and play it now. I just want to go back and look at it.
Yeah, it was like you say, like the neon lighting, the way that they had the atmosphere. It's quite dark in places. I know there's a lot of brighter areas. They just looked incredible as well. But like, they just got the look and feel of this game just perfectly. And like the fidelity, like, it looks amazing. It's crystal clear. The frames are like pretty solid all the way through this game as well.
Yeah,
I never really had any major drops or anything like that. Like, this game runs really well. The music is atmospheric. I do remember it a little bit more clearly than I do Horizon, funnily enough. We spoke about Horizon obviously on the last podcast, and I was like, I don't remember the music at all. Even though I listened to the Spotify just to kind of get a gauge of it. But like with Stray, I don't know. It seemed to be a little bit more memorable when it comes to it. I feel like because there's no talking, because Aloy doesn't shut up, and there's a lot more noise going on. I don't feel like it. But with this, because it's quite a quiet game, right? The androids are just going like this, right? And like the thing on your back is just like, you know, and it's like the music kind of, it stands out a little bit more because you haven't got all this dialogue flooding it, and you haven't got noise because it's quite quiet. There's not a lot going on. So I feel like it's, I feel like in that space, it's when, again, I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy quite a lot, but it's when people remember the music from the older Final Fantasies more than they do the like the PS2 era onwards. And I was like, well, it's because there's dialogue, like, because there's all this sound going on, so you don't always necessarily hear the music above other things. It becomes a bit more atmospheric. Whereas in the earlier Final Fantasy titles, it's like you remember every area you went to. You're like, oh, I remember that town's theme or this character's theme or whatever, you know. And it's I feel like it's that, and I feel like it has an advantage because there is no talking as well.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Like, obviously, I hadn't thought about it like that, but now that you have mentioned it, the absence of because you've no dialogue to focus on.
No,
the music does just take
you
over.
in.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I hadn't thought about it like that, but
it's one of those things that I tend to notice a lot in games, is whether or not the music has time to breathe like that, because games like this, it really enhances the experience, and you really feel it. So when you're playing this, just, you know, let that music sort of sink in. It's quite, you know, mysterious, and there are quiet moments, you know, but it's there, and it's there to kind of drive the mood forward.
And it's a banger.
It's a banger. I remember like you just writing this as well. I literally just looked down on my notes here for the podcast, and it's just like banger, just like written down there. Surprised you didn't put it in capital letters.
I think I did initially, and I was like, nah, I can't do that.
But no, I've got my list here because I think we are good to move on to the trophy list here, Pete. What do you say?
I think it's about time.
Yeah.
It's about time.
So that's enough about the game itself. Definitely a really worthy of its score. But so the trophy list itself, I'll just sort of try and run these through as best I can here, because this is one of those indie titles that really kind of has a plethora of gold and silver. We like that. So we've got 7 golds, 9 silvers, 8 bronzes that are going to get us all the way through to the platinum. The golds are for the chase sequence that we talked about a little bit. Completing the Zoo with no kills, the speed run, which is 2 hours. There's a couple for actually like story related. One's for reaching the city section portion of the game, the others for completing it, and then the others are for the collectibles. Okay. The silvers are for the 100 meows, the jumping 500 times, which will do anyway. The 1 hour sleep, which we'll get to. Going through the Midtown section, which is the stealth section without being detected. Again, looking at some story related here, which is meeting B12 and going to do a jail prison section. You get silvers for those. And then there's some collectibles, which is collecting music sheets, nuzzling against robots or androids, and then the scratching trophy as well, for scratching every chapter.
We'll talk about that as well.
We'll talk about that. The bronze is a little bit more fun. There's dunking the basketball for dying. I like that. Scratching a vinyl, story-related trophy here. It's a couple there for translations. And we've got the wearing the paper bag, which is a really fun one. The play the mahjong, which is the board game like thing. Browse TV. Just mainly like story, miscellaneous bits and pieces, like for the bronze trophies there. I'll ask you the question, even though I know the answer. Did you check out the list before we started?
Not before it came out.
No.
No.
I know your start, Pete. I know your start, Pete.
Yeah. I mean, we've had 2 of these now, and neither of them I've looked at the trophy list beforehand.
Do you ever look at trophy lists?
I do, I promise.
Okay. I know. I'd say like you, like I can't help myself but have a little look at the trophy list. I have to sort of have a bit of a browse. Anything I'm looking out for, even things like the paper bag or dunking the basketball, I kind of just make mental notes of little bits and pieces. So for me, it was just like, oh, okay, I'll look through and I can then pinpoint where things are. It's always my sort of general strategy with these sorts of games. I like to go into it. So I know that you played this like on launch. Did you have like any kind of strategy going into this, Pete?
No, I think the main thing for this game with me, and this is sort of my general sort of strategy in trophy hunting in general. If it's a massively long game and I think there's going to be missable stuff, I will look at the guide and I'll be like, right, what do I need to do? With a game like this, where the runtime is relatively short, I'm not that fussed.
No.
I'm more than happy to, if I have to do 2 runs of it because I've done a blind playthrough first, that's fine. It's not a 90-hour game. It's like, 4 maybe? 4.5, 5.
I'm trying to remember what my platinum trophy time was now, but it's probably about, I feel like if you're really exploring, you probably could take about 6-7 hours if you're just kind of very casually going through areas and stuff. And some of the puzzles will take you a little while to kind of figure out. But once you know what you're doing, like if you were to do a second playthrough, you're going to get it done like in like 3-4 hours as a steady playthrough.
Well, I think my total time was bordering on the 8-hour mark, and that's obviously including the speedrun and the
sleeping trophy.
1 hour sleep.
We'll get to that. We will. We'll get to that. Don't worry when we talk about our bad trophies. I like looking at trophy lists. I really do. I like to have a little bit of a plan. I don't like to like make like loads of notes unless I have to, because I think like you, I think it was revealed that there was going to be like a chapter select. So for me, I wasn't really necessarily going into this kind of like, okay, I want to plan out my entire run here. I'll just have a little look, and then I can then map out where things are, and I know when I'm doing my cleanup, I know what I'm kind of like gauging myself like up into this one. So I kind of had a little bit of a pre sort of glance. But how did you get many on your first playthrough? Do you remember kind of like what your kind of count was at the end?
I don't remember the exact count. I definitely found more of the collectibles naturally than I thought. I feel like a lot of them are just sort of quite front and center on the story path, so you're not going to miss out too many of those.
There's one or two that kind of hidden away though. I was trying to think like, where's this one?
I think the main ones that are a bit more obscure are the badges, because some of those you have to actually do
something
quests to get them.
They're like little mini side quests or kind of off the beaten path, like this kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Remember one you had to like do a convoluted section of like, I think it was in Midtown where the city was, and it was like up and you had to go round and then like in a little window.
Yes, I remember that. Oh,
there was like one round there that I feel like I missed.
Right.
So I felt like it was a little bit
yeah, I do remember that. I remember that one. The other one that springs to mind is it's like a factory.
Oh yes.
You have to talk to a robot who's dropped something.
Yes.
You have to then go and find the thing they've dropped, take it back to them.
And all the while you're doing a stealth section.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously I love that.
You're like, go back again, mate. Go get the collectible.
But in terms of like the trophies in general, there was a couple that I got naturally that I was quite happy I did naturally and didn't look at.
Yes, I remember you saying about this one.
I got the basketball one.
Yeah.
Naturally, because I saw the basketball and thought, I have to be able to push this, surely. And I did. I got the bag on the head
bag
one.
On the head,
which,
yeah.
I did have a good laugh when that happened. Because it inverts the controls as well, doesn't it, when it happens?
Yeah, like the cat's all confused. like, the cat is just like going like all over the place. It's great. Yeah, it's a really nice... I don't know if it's a nod to anything or anything like that, but it's a really great little...
I think it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of fun. Like the cat's just all confused. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
What about you first run through? Did you say?
Yeah, I feel like I tried to get a lot of those miscellaneous ones. Yeah. I feel like I saw the basketball straight away, the bag. Yeah. I wanted to do the music sheet one as well because it was in that sort of opening section. Yeah. I saw there was like music sheets. I was like, oh, okay. Like I know it's a trophy. Like there must be like bits to do. So I was frantically trying to go around trying to find them all, and I think I managed to sort of do it like on my first playthrough. So I managed to do that. I did completely forget about the scratching trophy. I just sort of like completely like negated that, and I had to kind of go through, I think, almost like a partial second playthrough. I had to just kind of just go through and just check where I had to do it. So that was a relatively annoying one, but I know that I sort of like missed a fair few of these sorts of things, particularly like you say, some of the collectibles, but I think, like you say, like because it's got like a chapter select, a new game plus, you can kind of just go through and get things. Nice quality of life trophy hunting stuff there. You haven't got to do it all in one run. It's like you can just sort of do it and just kind of tidy up the bits that you needed to do. So I think like you, I think we both did quite a lot of bit of a polishing off when it came to the trophies.
Yeah.
Which one did you leave last?
I think we left the same one to the end.
Was it the speed run?
Yeah, we did the speed run last. Yeah.
I think most people leave the speed run or they leave the chase until last because it's relatively the hardest trophy. Or sometimes I think some people did the sleeping trophy. I don't know. I feel like I saw some people doing the sleeping trophy because they just wanted the cat to be sleeping while they got the platinum. Like,
I mean, that's fair. Maybe if that's what you're into. I don't know. If you want really annoying rubbish trophies to be your last one.
I wanted the meow to be, because that was my plan. I was like, I want the meow to be the platinum trophy. I want to just be walking about and then go meow, ping, platinum trophy. But like, I blew through those 100 meows like within the first hour of the game. I was just going meow, meow, and I was like, I've got loads. I've got 100. I've got loads.
It's impossible to not speed run that trophy because you just sit there spamming the button.
I know. You just like, it's so great. I so wanted it to be like the platinum trophy video, but like, alas, no. But yeah,
it was not to be.
No, we both got the speedrun trophy at the end there.
Yeah.
I was actually speedrunning that with you on the phone as well, because you guys were playing Assassin's Creed. And I was like,
we were all
I'll
playing
join you in a little bit. This shouldn't take too long for me to get this trophy. And off I was trying to speedrun it. It's actually quite lenient, that trophy, because I real-timed it. So I had my stopwatch out to keep track of how long I was playing for. And the clock hit like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think, or just before 2 hours. I had to really like just run the last bit. But it takes like half an hour off your time.
Yeah, so I think we said this last time we talked about it.
We did. But this is a fresh recording piece. I've got a...
I mean, this is true. You're jogging my memory here. That's the main thing.
Yeah. It took like 25, 30 minutes of the time. So like, it's really lenient.
Yeah.
Like, you'll do it in 2 hours real time, but it's really like an hour and a half in their time. I don't know what it takes a time off for, cutscenes or something, dialogue.
Yeah.
It
Well,
must
like,
just
I
be...
think it takes it off, like, you know, there's sections where you have to stop.
Yeah.
Or things like that.
The androids are talking to the...
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to count that. He's just mumbling here, so you can just... Yeah. So it's a more relaxed speedrun trophy than I feel like it probably should be. I think people always worry about speedrun trophies, but...
Yeah, they sort of add that air of tension, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, I'm on the clock. Like I have to hurry through this.
The problem I had was remembering what things I had to do, because obviously you do so much side content. I'm like, what's actually necessary for me to progress this story? And then I get to a point where like, I've forgotten something to progress the story. What is it? What do I need to do? So particularly that opening like town area that you kind of go back to a couple of times. Yeah. I'm trying to remember like how to progress the story forward. But I had that issue when I was doing, because I was doing something. I was like, I don't need to do this. Let's move on.
Yeah. Let's just hurry up.
Yeah.
Oh dear me.
But did you have what sort of fun things did you find with this trophy list?
Well, I think I said there's the obvious kind of ones where you meows, you bag on the heads, all of that good stuff. I think for me, the most fun I had with it was probably the speedrun.
Yeah.
I know that might be sort of a controversial topic. I don't know.
I think it's I'm quite like in terms of trophies. I like trophies that take you a little bit away from the actual game, and doing speed runs.
Yeah.
It's a nice way of playing the game. Okay, let's see how quickly you can kind of make through this now that you've played through it.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a really good one there, because I quite like the stealth section, right? Sneaking my way out without getting caught, all that sort of stuff. I quite like trophies that sort of like do that. So I'm almost like in agreement with you when it comes to like the speed run. But yeah, do I give it to the stealth? Do I give it to the meow? The meow is such a great trophy.
It is.
I'm trying to remember which one I actually.
I think last time you mentioned about the getting through the sewers. Yeah, the pacifist one.
The pacifist one. Even though it's quite an action sequence, and I know I don't really like it, it was a really different way of playing. So you had to again try and think of it like the puzzle, try and make your way through, because you could go through that section without setting them off. Because I feel like they're in little orbs or bulbs or
like
something.
clusters and stuff.
They're in little clusters, so you can kind of like make your way around and like do it without setting them off. And then that's it. Like once you set them off, so they all come after you. Yeah. But like I feel like you can kind of make it through that section without having to do that. So I feel like the pacifist trophy was I like those sorts of trophies. I feel like the no detection one, the pacifist one, the speed run. They make the game just feel a little bit different. And I feel like this trophy list really goes out of its way to give you different things to do.
It does, but I also think it does a really good job of leaning into the game as well.
Lean into cat,
like obviously, like we were saying, you've got the one end where you've got the speed run, you've got the pacifist thing, You've got the chase one, which we'll talk about.
We'll get onto that one.
Then you've also got this other side where it is literally just do things that a cat would do, and we'll give you a trophy for it. And I always love those kinds of trophies.
We'll get into the overall, but like so much like fun things like to do on that list.
Yeah.
Like there's a point where you kind of look down, you're like, oh, I've not got that trophy there. Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah. That sounds like really fun. Let's go. So what did you find sort of difficult, annoying?
I feel like it's going to be so obvious, the answers to both of those questions.
No, for both of us, we're like, right, we've got this one in the
literally,
bag,
there's only two options it could be.
Yeah, I know.
The difficulty can't catch me. That's the only hard trophy in the entire game. It just is. Trying to get through that stealth section. Trying to get through that chase without getting touched when these little creatures can seemingly make 90-degree turns mid-air. Yeah. Is just
like literally RKO out of nowhere. Like this thing just comes from left field, boom, on top of you. Like, where did you come from? You weren't on my screen. Just like, jumps from and aside for...
And I know they come from like specific sections of the map, but they're not in specific paths. Like they can sort of change depending on...
It's RNG as well. Like they jump different every time. You could do the same run.
You can practice it and you can do the exact same movements every single time and get caught 9 times out of 10.
And just get caught in different locations.
Yeah. But that 10th time you've not done anything different. You've just gotten lucky.
Yeah.
But if we have to talk about the worst trophy in the game, we have to talk about the sleeping trophy. It is
such a bad trophy.
I'm gonna hold my language.
Please do, because last time you swore.
I did.
Definitely agree with you. I think it's just mechanically, it's a bad trophy. Like it's just a bad trophy. It's idle time. You're not doing anything.
No.
So I don't understand why that's even like a trophy.
In a sense, I get it. Because it leans into the being a cat thing. It's on this side of the equation.
Yeah.
But it's an hour leaving your game just running. Like, for no reason.
No reason whatsoever. If they'd have just said, sleep in 9 spots or 10 or whatever, like, just sleep in different spots. Or like
little tiny like nooks and crannies you can find.
Yeah.
Little map to sleep in. Like that would have been cool.
The little bookshelf. Do you remember that one? Where you go to the library?
That's the exact one I was thinking
of. The books out and you can just like pop down, have a snooze. Like it'd be great. Or just like one of those. Like find a bookshelf to sleep on and like that's just the trophy.
Or like kind of like the scratching one where it's like find a sleeping spot in each
level, thing or whatever. Like that. They could have done something a little bit more fun and engaging with it, but instead you just got to find a spot, lay down, and just leave your controller and just like go have lunch or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like. And how many people do you think did it in the exact same place where you're next to that musician?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just for the trophy pop, right?
Everyone did it because it's like
just
the first
the trophy pops. You start away and the person's just like sitting there looking at you, like playing the guitar, like serenading the cat. The cat's just like,
oh dear.
You know, just like stretching out. Yeah, I mean, the can't catch me thing, it's a difficult trophy, and it's well annoying because it took me like 100 tries to do it. And the people on Twitter were like, yeah, I did it first time, mate, what are you talking about? I'm like,
so easy.
Yeah, you try and not me though swearing because I'm just like, whatever, mate, jog on, do you know what I mean? Whatever, you did that first time. Whatever. There'll be someone in the comments be like, I did do it first time, actually. I would say you got lucky. In all honesty, I would say you got a little bit lucky. It's like the Chocobo trophy. I'll get back to Final Fantasy, right?
Always.
The Final Fantasy X Chocobo trophy, where it's just like you're running, but like the birds are flying down, hitting you. The Chocobo's moving around. There's such a random probability of like something happening. Like it's just like you could do great runs, but just get hit. Just out of nowhere, just literally from 90-degree turns, from off the screen, you know, it's a real hard time, but at the same time, I feel like it's a decent challenge, and it's like, it's one trophy that kind of just adds a little bit of air of like difficulty to it, and I don't think it's impossible. It's not like Kana's Master Master Spirit Guide trophy.
We'll share some more thoughts on that when we talk about that game in the future.
Like, it is, which is a hard time all the time. This is just like, okay, can you just try this action section with like no hits? And it is a tough time, but I think it's okay. Like, I can forgive it for what it's trying to achieve in terms of the trophy. I think it's a fair challenge to make people to go and do. But the sleeping one is, mate, no.
We can forgive the challenging chase sequence. We cannot forgive the sleep.
Yeah, like I get it. It is hard and it's difficult, and it can be a platinum blocker for some people. Like, some people could just be like, nah, I can't do it. Yeah. And that's fair. Like, it is really difficult. But yeah, I can forgive it. I can give that one a pass.
Yeah.
But there you go. So what did you think to the list overall, Pete?
I'd say overall, it was a good list. I think it had the right amount of, like we said, that balance of taking you somewhere you wouldn't necessarily have gone and doing things that you would assume a cat would do. I feel like it does a good blend of that.
Yeah.
However, that one trophy annoyed me so much that it knocks points off.
Yeah, it's a shame, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I think overall, like I said this earlier, where like you look at the list and you've got something to do, you're like, oh, that sounds like fun. Like, this list is, I think this is a fun list. I think you look down here, yeah, there's some boring trophy, like collectibles and story-related trophies, but most of the miscellaneous stuff you have to do and the stuff outside of the main game is fun, and it adds again, I suppose it's not necessarily its downfall, but like it adds more variety to it because again, you're asking different sections to do different sections, right?
Yeah.
Like, I suppose that's what it's trying to do, but like, it does make you play the game a little bit differently, and I do kind of like when a game's kind of like do that. Is contrasting, I suppose.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm contradicting myself. It's like, I don't like the variety, but I like the variety, right?
It makes sense.
It's slightly different. It's a slightly different take.
Exactly.
In this instance, like doing it, I think Resident Evil do these sorts of trophies brilliantly with the no box run and things like that. Like, I feel like they.
Yeah. It's playing the game in a way that you wouldn't necessarily initially play the game.
It gives you replayability.
Yeah.
It gives you replayability, you know. It makes you, again, it's a short game, so most people would probably play this for the 5, 6, 7 hours and be like, that's it, done. But they got an extra few hours out of us, you know, just getting the Platinum Trophy. I think overall this is like, for me, it's one of those fun lists. It's kind of like Bug Snacks. There's stuff on there which is like, that sounds like fun. That sounds like a good time. It's a fun list. But yeah, man, like that one trophy is just like idle time. Like, that trophy's a drag. It's an hour.
It's just, it annoys me because it's just taking our time for granted.
Yeah.
Almost. It's like, we could have been doing something else. We could have been seeing other parts of this game or doing something more creative in the game.
Yeah.
Instead, it's just...
The game has a really good air of creativity to it, and I think we haven't really expressed that enough. I don't think it's the creativity, and I feel like you can tell these developers love cats, or they love the idea of making a game about cats.
Yeah,
and that really comes across because they make you do things like just silly cat things that they would do. They probably saw their cat put a bag on their head and then just get lost. And they're like, that's going in. It's going in the game.
That's something that they would do. And like you said, that sort of detail, you can tell they really cared and they really did want to make this game how they did.
It's really, really good. We're going to arbitrary score.
You're going to make me do this every time, aren't you?
Well, people want to know, Pete. What do we?
People click on these things for the numbers.
For the numbers, right? But I'm just getting my my numbers here actually, because I'm trying to remember what I actually.
I think I have your numbers.
What I actually gave it. I've got it now.
Okay.
So if you were to score this game in terms of its fun factor, how did you enjoy this?
Again, I feel it's something we kind of just discussed a little bit. I think 90% of the list, I'd say, is a 9 out of 10 easy.
Yeah.
In terms of fun.
But
again, this would probably change if I went back to it now. I'm just going to say that up front. The Productive Day trophy annoyed me that much that it took a lot of the fun out of the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because I was sort of just like, I'm kind of done now. Like, you've annoyed me. I don't want to play.
Yeah. You get sort of 10 minutes in and you're like...
Yeah. But I'd still probably put it at like a 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, I think if I went back to play it now, knowing that was a thing, I'd probably get it out of the way straight away.
Just do the first nap spot. The opening part. Can you sleep there? Where you got the group of cats?
Ooh, maybe.
Sleep there. Maybe.
That's a good shout, actually.
Just turn it on, sleep.
Just try it.
And then just go away, make some lunch.
Yeah, come back, trophies popped. Right, I can play the game now.
Here we go. Here we go.
I'd say that'll probably take it up to like a 9 out of 10.
Get out of the way early. Or just try and spread it out. Just do like 5 minutes here or there, you know. Sort of spread it out a little bit.
What do you think then?
I think I'm a little bit favourable on this one, I think, than you are. I think I'm like you. I think this is like definitely on a fun factor like a 9 or a 10 out of 10. I feel like I had a great time playing this game and earning the trophies, but I will knock it down for the productive day. So I think for me it sort of sits at an 8. Okay. I think you can still have a really good time, and I feel like it didn't detract me massively, but it did annoy me. Like I was just like, you know, I feel like I actually went to sleep along with the cat. I felt like I had the thing going and I just sort of laid down with like my phone or something and I probably dozed for a little bit. So I probably just went to sleep with the cat, to be honest with you. Just had a nap. And
can't say I blame you.
Yeah, and just woke up and was just like, what's the time? Okay, 10 more minutes.
I've only had half an hour.
Yeah. I've had half hour, Kip. That's all right. I don't think it annoyed me as much as you did. So I feel like I can rate this sort of slightly higher. And I think like you're saying, like if you're going into this, you know that trophy's there. Prepare yourself for it. Prepare yourself for the hour. Like you can either spread it out if you want to, kind of just sort of find a spot. Maybe just like just sit there for 5 minutes and then just spread it out rather than doing it all in one go. Or
I thought it had to be in one go.
I think it's cumulative. Ooh. I don't think you have to do it all in one go.
I did not know that. I thought it had to be a one and done kind of thing.
Maybe I'll have to kind of have a little look at it, but I feel like it's a total time of sleeping. It's like the meows. I feel like it's just a total time, I think.
Yeah, it could very well be, and I'm probably remembering it wrong.
Are you looking up now?
Yeah.
You might better tell me.
While I'm looking this up then, what would you say?
I will talk a little bit about the difficulty.
Yeah, there you go. Let you do something.
This is not a difficult trophy list by any means. I think you will have a tough time with the Can't Catch Me trophy. I think we sort of really kind of discussed that. It's the only real difficult trophy that you're going to find. You may get through it on your first go. It might be your first 100 goes. It might be 1,000 goes. But you'll eventually get it.
You will.
The speed run isn't a challenging speed run if you know where you're going or what you're doing. It's very lenient. You can get slightly lost like I did and still make it through.
Yeah.
Have you found the answer?
I'm looking right now, and as far as PSN profile says, it does just say to just leave it for 1 hour.
Oh, okay, so leave it for 1 hour.
Could be cumulative.
To be on the safe side.
Yeah.
To be on the safe side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely say I think it does get bumped up slightly because of the Can't Catch Me trophy. I feel like you can't give it a 2 because there's a level of effort involved in playing and doing this game. You can't just like it's not as always straightforward. I feel like it's either a 3. I think it's maybe like a 3.5. I don't know if I can give it a 4. I feel like it's pretty easy, but I don't
feel like you can go that high.
No, I think a 3 is a fair score because that can't catch me trophy, like, it takes a little bit of luck, a bit of skill, and a bit of time and patience to get that trophy done.
Yeah.
But for that reason, that's the reason why I've bumped it up. Everything else is like, it's not... I class a 1 like doing nothing, like it's a Telltale's game, or like you're doing My Name is Mayo. Like there's no skill involved. A 2 is a straightforward, easy game that has no real challenging element to it whatsoever. But a 3, I would say, is it has a little challenge to it, and there's some sections where like it's a little bit more difficult, and I feel like that bumps it for me to a 3.
Yeah, I'd say you pretty much hit the nail on the head with that there. I think on my notes I had written about it being a 2.
2.
Obviously,
You're like,
hearing
can't
you
catch me. It's like,
explain...
mate, it's a breeze, mate. Like, you just...
You did it first time, mate.
You just run through, mate. It's fine. It's fine.
But obviously, like, hearing how you, like... Just bump the mic. Hearing how you, like, categorize them and saying, like, obviously 2 is a straightforward game with no... I'd say 3 is probably about fair. I think there's... Even without the Can't Catch Me trophy, I think there are some sections in that game that can give you a bit of a challenge.
Hard time. Yeah. It's got some effort like to it. Do you know what I mean? You have to kind of... It's a game where you have to learn the systems slightly. You have to learn a little bit of the gameplay. Particularly some of those puzzle stealth sections, those action sequences with a puzzle. Like, there's stuff that's going on that can cause you issues and trouble.
Yeah, I think the bit I'm thinking of is like it's either the start of the sewer or we have to just switch on either side of a door.
Yes,
and you have to hit both, but the things are like
you hit one, and I think they all start coming after you. You have to get round to the
and
other
then you have to run back round the other one. So even things like that can take you a couple of tries.
It can, because I remember dying a couple of times. I think like to some certain points like that where I was like, okay, right, I need to figure this out.
The problem is once one jumps on you, then another one, and then
it slows you down, and then they all just start piling on, and then you end up bless the cat. Like, it's quite tragic, really, isn't it?
It is a bit.
So
it gets you a trophy if you do it 9 times.
It does. You have to die, so you got to do it. But yeah, I feel like a 3 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, I think is a fair score. I feel like there's some bits in there that need to to go on to. But yeah, final recommendations, Pete. Like what we're saying. I recommend this game, this Platinum.
Yeah, play it, platinum it, do it all. You'll love it. As much as obviously we've had some qualms with it throughout this game, I'm not with it. It's early in the morning.
I know. I felt like I woke you up, Pete. I'll literally open Pete's curtain here. I messaged him. It was like 9 a.m. I got back from dropping off my kids at school run. I'm like, hey, here we go. Day's going, guys. I text Pete and say, hey, I'm online. I'm ready. Pete's like, oh man, I totally forgot. Sorry, man, I'll be there in a minute.
I just want to clarify. I didn't forget that we were doing it.
No, you thought it was later. Yeah, you were still in bed, just like.
Yeah, I was up till 3. So
you were doing a productive day trophy, weren't you, Pete?
That was it. I was trying to get my platinum, for life.
That's it. Yeah, trying to get platinum in life. Man, we all need those cat naps. We should all take a page out of Stray's book here and take a nap for an hour a day to make it productive.
Oh dear.
But yeah, I feel like this is a definite recommend. Get it played. You're only going to get annoyed by that productive day trophy. We joke
if you get it out of the way early, like we were saying.
Get it done. Yeah, get it done, and then just enjoy the rest of the experience. It'd be a fun time. Yeah. Okay then, P. Do you have anything in the pipeline you'd like to plug, or?
Well, I say I platinumed that VR title, so I'm currently working on that video.
Nice.
Hopefully it'll be out in next week or the week after. I'm going to say week after to sort of...
Depends on when I can get this out, P. It might already be out.
That is very true, So from recording, I'm hoping the next week or week after. So depending on when that video comes out, timelines.
Timelines, yeah, I know.
Yeah, other than that, I just put out a video with Merc KK. That was immensely fun.
Really good video. Go check it out.
It was a great time. What about yourself? What else have you got going on?
We're streaming Final Fantasy 9 at the moment, so we finished off 7 remakes. So we're playing Final Fantasy 9. It's an absolute banger. There's so much planning involved, though, Pete. The amount of missable trophies is insane.
Got a full-on Google Doc open and everything.
Mate, my plan with this platinum journey is each week because I know the game fairly well. I kind of know what sections are coming up, so I basically look down the trophy list to see if there's anything coming up that I need to worry about. Whether it's like active time events, which are like little cutscenes that trigger, and you have to view 79 of them. And I believe there's like 80 or 81 in the game or something like that. And you can miss them.
Two and that's it.
You probably will. You can miss them. So I have to make sure that I know how many are in each section and where they're triggered, so I can kind of get those like ticked off. If there's any items that I need later, like literally the opening, like maybe hour or two in the game, there's a section where you do a mini game, and it's with the main character Zidane and blank, a side character NPC, and you do this like pretend sword fight because you're in a play. It's like a masquerade play. You're doing this section, your button prompts and presses and that, and you have to impress the queen. If you don't impress the queen, you don't get the moonstone. You don't get the moonstone. You don't get the moonstone trophy for collecting 4 moonstones. So if you if you don't impress her, you miss the moonstone. That's it. You ain't getting the platinum, like, and you can't go. Nothing is really like obtainable, like back again. You can't like go back. You have to do a fresh playthrough. And if you miss an ATE, mate, brand new playthrough. Go watch them all again. Like, so you have to make sure that like every collectible, every scene, every item, and you have to really plan your way through. Otherwise, you could just end up getting locked out the platinum pretty quickly. So it's a bit of a ball ache, but like it's a really fun time. I have the jump rope trophy, which is the 1,000 jumps.
He definitely did it legit.
Hell no.
Honestly, I was watching you try and do it on stream, and I could not wrap my head around that.
Mate, I got 45 on stream. By the way, if you want to watch it, go check out the streams on the channel. Definitely. Go press the bell so you know when I'm live. It's every Friday night at 8 p.m. Go check it out. Go see the pain of like trying to get this platinum. But I'm hoping it's going to be quite a comprehensive playthrough as well, because I don't have many trophies for it. So I'm hoping this is going to be quite a complete playthrough when we do it. That's the target aim, is to get the platinum. So I'd like to make sure that we've got everything sorted out. So I am trying to make it as good as a playthrough as possible. But that trophy, man, it's just... But I've got the script to work. So I got the script to work, so I did use that.
I don't think anyone on the planet can blame you for that.
I posted about it, and people are like, mate, well done. But people are asking me like how to get the script to work, because obviously a lot of the videos are quite old now. So I don't know if I'll do a video on it. Like, if you want me to do a video, like, sound out in the comments. Like, it'd be... If somebody wants me to explain how I did it.
Yeah.
Because it is doable, like, on the current remote play setup. You can do it on there. You just have to load up like auto hotkeys and an auto hotkey script writer, and you have to run them like through. And I managed to get it to work, and I got the trophy probably within the hour. It does fail a lot, so it will start jumping, and then it'd be like fail, and it'll start jumping, fail, and then it gets to about 200, and it fail. But then it got to 1 and it just kept going and going. And I was sitting there just going, oh, don't fail, don't fail, don't fail, don't fail. And then it got past the fail. I think it got to like 1150 or something like that. Jeez. And I was just like, okay.
How fast does it get towards the end? Because I know it speeds up every...
I posted the trophy video on Twitter. But the thing about the jumps is they change all the time. So you have the start, and then it goes a little bit faster. And then, I don't know if it goes even faster still, but then it does a double dutch. It goes tap, 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 right? And then it does a random one. So it does I feel like from 200 to 300, it goes random. So sometimes it's tap, 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 tap. It goes random. When it hits 300, it's just a fast tap. It's like tap, 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 tap. And it's just, you can see the thing coming up, and like, I swear to God, any controller latency is just, it's a killer, mate. If you try and do that, you could be pressing the button on the tempo all the time, and for some reason it will just fail. And you're like, what did I do? It'll be controller latency. It'll be because that button input wasn't as fast as the other ones, so it just causes it to have a millisecond timer off, and it fails you.
What sadistic?
It's worse than the parrying system in Kana. That button latency is pretty small, right? To get the parry right, you have to be quite precise. This is just another level. Like, it's a millisecond. It's so bad. But yeah, that's done. Anyway. Moving on. We've got those done. So I was actually quite happy to get that sorted out. So we are up to the Evil Forest at the moment. So we're going to be playing through that section, which is a whole bunch of ATEs and just some treasure to collect. So nothing too challenging, but we'll hopefully get up to onto the open world and start exploring some of the other areas as well, like coming up. So looking forward to targeting that as well soon. So,
wonderful stuff.
And of course, obviously, like, subscribe over at Pete's channel. Like, make sure you go over there and get all that wonderful stuff done. Obviously, same on this channel here. Get yourself like and subscribing. Check us out on the live streams. Check us out on Twitter. I will put Pete's information in the description, and as well as mine, so you can go and find all that over there, guys. But yeah. No other closing thoughts, Pete? We'll just say our goodbyes.
Just go play Stray.
And keep hunting those trophies. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.